I'm going to show you how to set up a Rust development environment on a Raspberry Pi, which is ridiculously simple thanks to the Rust team. It's literally just one curl command. We are also going to install VS Code in the Raspberry Pi directly, just in case you have to connect a keyboard and a monitor to the Pi directly. And for those programmers that prefer to use VS Code instead of Vim through SSH, I'm also going to show you how to set up VS Code on a MacBook so that you can write code for your Pi from your MacBook and have the code save, compile, and execute on the Pi. This is a much faster and much better developer experience than coding your Pi through a remote desktop viewer like Tiger VNC Viewer. If you haven't touched your Pi in a few months, go ahead and do an app update. The Pi operating system has curl already installed, but for whatever strange reason that you do not have curl already, go ahead and install curl. I'm currently running the latest Raspberry Pi operating system called Bookworm, which is a Debian-based Linux operating system on my Raspberry Pi 4B with 8 gigs of RAM. And for those who are not aware, this is a 64-bit operating system on an ARM architecture. And again, if you have not touched your Raspberry Pi in, say, a year or so, go ahead and install the Build Essentials package. And once the foundation has been laid, we are going to run the curl command or command, tomato, tomato, given to us by the Raspberry Pi team. Here we are going to select option 1, standard installation. And that has to be the easiest installation in all of Linux nerddom. And then once the installation is completed, it even tells you how to source your environment. And if you read this, it gives you the source command, right? And then it says here for shell, bash, geesh, ash, dash, and whatever that is. I'm using bash shell, which is the default shell on the Pi. So I'm going to go with that command there. Mind the dot, okay? And then running Rust-C version to make sure they have the right compiler, and I do. It is the latest compiler as of July 28th of 2025. And like I said earlier, installing VS Code on the Pi is ridiculously easy, thanks to Microsoft. Thank you, Microsoft. Some of you Linux purists just threw up in your own mouths after hearing the word Microsoft. The cool thing about having VS Code in the Pi is that once you've installed VS Code, you can launch VS Code from the command line by typing code dot without any additional configuration to VS Code or to the machine. Now let's lay the foundation for connecting VS Code from the MacBook to the Raspberry Pi. If you haven't already done so, make sure that you have SSH enabled in Raspberry config. And pressing enter on Raspberry config will take you to this screen here. We're going to go down to interface option, SSH, make sure that it is enabled, yes, okay, and tap your way to finish. And then here we're going to do a sudo reboot. See you in a minute. You are going to need the IP address for your Raspberry Pi. If you don't know it already, you can certainly run ifconfig pipe grab inet and then grab the IP address, which is internal only to you. You are going to need that IP address for the MacBook side. Optionally, If you want to test your SSH from your Mac to your Pi using the IP address, you can do so via SSH. Now, you will have to set up your SSH keys for your Pi in your Mac, which is extremely easy. If you've done it for GitHub or GitLab, it's the same process. I have a video about that. It's very easy to do. Now, if you want to kick it old school and you don't care about VS Code and you want to code Rust using only Vim or uh, NeoVim, shout out to my homie Zach. Hope you enjoying your NeoVim with Rust programming. So basically, you would go into the folder that you want and create a hello world.rs, and then you can just go to town coding on your Vim without any IDE whatsoever from your Mac. So now I'm back in my Mac, as you can see here from my G's terminal and my VS Code. We will need to install one extension from, wait for it, Microsoft, because this is a Microsoft product, right? VS Code, called Remote SSH. So install that. After installing the extension, I would restart my VS Code for good measure. And then I'm going to go Command Shift P, then type in remote SSH, and then select the add new SSH host. I'm going to type in SSH, and then the name of your Pi. Press enter. Now, when I tell you to create SSH key, make sure you know where it is. In my case, it's that one. It says host added. You can look at your configuration, or you just go connect. I'm going to go connect. And then it's going to add me, it's going to ask me to enter my password. Go ahead and enter your password here. And then when you enter your password, press enter, and see that it's connecting to my Raspberry Pi. You see the terminal there? That's the Pi terminal, not the Mac terminal. So now we are going to write some Rust code in our Mac to see how that would work in the Pi. So here, back in my Pi, in my Rust directory, I have nothing in there. Back in my Mac, I'm going to move into my Rust directory by issuing my alias. I'm going to go cargo new show OS because I want to write a program that shows the operating system in the terminal. Okay, it created that package for me, and then I'm gonna open that folder up in here. I'm gonna go to Sandbox, Rust, Show OS, go OK, and there is my folder structure for Show OS application. As you can see here, it's telling me that I'm connected remotely to my Pi, and here as well, and down here as well. And here's my Rust function to log out the operating system that I'm compiling the Rust code on. So again, I'm in my Mac, but this code will be compiled and run on the Pi. So I'm going to issue cargo run here. I'm running bash because obviously my Pi has bash and my Mac is running Geesh. There it is. Let me move this up just a tad. Okay. It's compiling again on the Pi. Operating system is Linux, R64, and then it's running Linux. Now, let me show you what this program looks like if I were to compile and run it on my Mac. Again, this is Linux, right? Now I'm back in the VS Code from my Mac. You can tell that it looks a little bit different. And I'm using the yeast terminal here instead of bash. So do cargo run. You see you're running Mac OS. And of course, Mac OS is Unix-like, not Linux, but Unix-like. So we're a completely different operating system. Going back to the Pi in the desktop and go to the folder structure here, there's a Shell OS application, and there's the code that lives in the Pi. To close the remote connection from the Mac in VS Code, you click on down here where the SSH is, close connection, and then you're gone. Just make sure, yep, I'm back in the Mac. Now that we have the remote configuration stored in VS Code for the Pi, the next time that we need to go back into the Pi remotely from the Mac, we would open up VS Code, Command-Shift-P, and we would do a remote SSH, connect to current window to host, or connect current window to host. Click on that, the IP address for the Pi. As you can see here, it says, you get a prompt here, it says enter your password. We go ahead and enter your password, and then you're back in again. If you need to get out of here for whatever reason, to cancel the connection, you would press escape. And because I'm using VS Code, regardless of environment, other command line tools still work the same. For example, if I'm in my show OS project directory and I want to open this project up in VS Code from the command line, I would issue the exact same command line as I would from anywhere else. There we go. Now I'm back in the project and I'm ready to code again on the Mac and from code store on the Raspberry Pi and execute it there. Okay, my dear friends, I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, please consider subscribing to my channel. It's completely free. It doesn't cost you anything. Please give this video a like if it was helpful. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.